All right. Welcome back to another episode of 2 Point Sports. Today we're going to cover the Big 12 championship. Oklahoma State proved they're the forever little brother, but they did get to beat us this year, so good for them, I guess. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the Oklahoma's coaching search. Today is Saturday. It looks like we're going to get to know soon, but we'll dive a little deeper here in a second. Thank you guys for everything. This last week has been awesome for us. The last video blew up. I know everyone's got an opinion on the coaching search, but we appreciate you guys hearing us out and love that you put your comment down in the section so that we know what you guys are thinking. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, turn on that notification bell so you know that when we are posting videos, you are the first one to watch it. But let's get into it. Oklahoma State today versus Baylor, Big 12 championship. First time Oklahoma is not down there in a long time. I didn't get to watch every single, from the beginning to end, but I saw a notification that even the refs, whenever the coin flip, they said Oklahoma won the toss, I believe, instead of Oklahoma State, which, everyone's kind of getting used to this college football season not going the way it usually goes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like what we've always called it is the Oklahoma Invitational whenever, the Big 12 championship. Yeah, it was weird waking up this morning, the first Saturday of December to not have the Sooners playing, because it's been 6 straight years of OU going, and it's a weird feeling. Not only are they not there, they have no head coach and no defensive coordinator and whatever. Oh, I guess they've got a head coach, but interim Bob Stoops. It was just a weird feeling today, and it's not the same feel. I know we've been to some of the Big 12 championship games. It's a lot of fun. I expected the game to be a close game and a good game, and it really was. I mean, Baylor did what they did to us too, what they did to Oklahoma. It was Dave Aranda is quite the coach. I mean, it's crazy. And then, we can't start talking about Baylor, but we got to first talk about Spencer Sanders and how OU ended up losing to a quarterback like that. What do you think?
Yeah, not a great day for Spencer. He had 257 yards today, but 4 interceptions. He could have had 5 on their last drive. He pretty much begged Baylor to take it away, but his receiver just said, "No, we got to keep you at 4, bud. We can't let you get," because he could have sealed the game for Baylor in that moment. But he's definitely not their future, right? We just looked it up right before. He is designated as a junior, not a red shirt, never had a red shirt. So it will be interesting to see what they do this off season. Will they try to replace him? I know they have some young quarterbacks on their roster right now that could push him and take his starting position, but he still has eligibility. I'm not sure what Gundy is thinking, moving forward at the quarterback position, especially after he was first team all Big 12 at the quarterback position. How does that happen? Brock Purdy had look better than this guy.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Not only could he have had a 5th interception, he probably should have had another fumble, because I remember one that he got stripped and he was able to pick it up before anyone got to it. Gundy's got this whole deal of it always seems like he plays the most senior guy and he's very loyal to his players and whatnot. When a guy throws 4 picks, it's tough. It's tough to rely on him. Just like, in Bedlam, what did he threw 2 interceptions, I believe, and a fumble potentially. I think there were 3 turnovers in that game, or maybe it's just 2 interceptions for him, but I know that for sure. I don't know. It's tough. I know they've got Shane Illingworth on the staff still, or on the team. But hopefully he stays at quarterback, because there's really no reason why Oklahoma should have lost to Spencer Sanders in Oklahoma State last week, other than the fact that now hindsight's 2020, we look back and Lincoln Riley had 1 foot out the door in that game. And I think maybe it's a conspiracy, whatever. Maybe I'm crazy, but kind of makes me wonder if he didn't throw the game to make sure he wasn't playing in the Big 12 championship, or the Sooners weren't playing in the Big 12 championship, so he could leave to go, flip a few guys before the early signing day. I just have a hard time believing. And I remember, I mean, I got on Twitter and I saw a few players posting about it and how weird it is. And um, I just wonder, it really makes you wonder why the Sooners lost. I mean, I don't know if they would have beaten Baylor because they got killed, the week before or whatever, or not the week before, the last time they played. But it kind of makes you wonder if they should have been there. What do you think?
I mean, at this point, I'm kind of done with speculating. Lincoln's out. I understand, the fans that have the similar viewpoint as you, where maybe he was planning on it and whatever. I mean, at this point, it is what it is. I think what has been confirmed though is that it was USC was pretty much the biggest Oklahoma State fans for the Bedlam game, because from what has been reported, I think it was by the LA Times, USC had been speaking with both the representation of Lincoln and the representation of Matt Campbell. And if Lincoln won the Bedlam game, we knew we were going on to the Big 12, and he just was not going to take the job. And it was going to be Matt Campbell's job to take. So literally one game, one drive away from not losing the head coach and not being in this very strange scenario that we're in here this week. That's pretty much what is changing the landscape of Oklahoma football for years to come, because who knows what we could have built with Lincoln at this point. I think, as much as we hate the way that he left, he was building something great. I think we can both agree on that. He had looking to have a top 5 class in 2022. At the time of his departure, he had the number 1 class in 2023 without a doubt, and it didn't look like they were going to slow down. They still had the opportunity. Oklahoma still has the opportunity for LeBeus Overton, who's the number 1 defensive player of that class. So he was building something great. Best of luck to him at USC. I know he got the bag, so it's hard to say he didn't leave for more money or whatever. But definitely something to I guess look back on one day. And there's going to be a crazy 30 for 30 made about how USC was able to potentially turn around their program. I think a lot of people are thinking that, especially Southern Cal fans are thinking we're going to be really good next year. Now let's pump the brakes. You guys sucked this year. You might be a little bit better next year, because Lincoln is going to bring in some people through transfer portal and recruitment. He's got Riley Brown right now, who's an amazing running back, and he's going to improve your team because he is a much better coach. You guys finally have some stability there, but you're not going to be a playoff contender more than likely. Like, the possibility of that is very low. Maybe in 2023, you start looking more like a contending team, but I don't see USC actually being a good program until 2024. And that's, we've all heard speculations of potential compliance issues coming up, but again, that's still just speculation at this point.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, they're going to see improvements. They're going to be more competitive. They're not going to have as bad of a season as they've had this year. With Riley and Grinch, they're just going to get better for sure. And I agree with you. I think it's going to be 2 or 3 years before they really start competing. And the big domino that could fall is if Mario Cristobal leaves Oregon to go coach at Miami. They're going to fit right in. Them and UCLA. I mean, I know Chip Kelly, and maybe if he gets Spencer Rattler, wouldn't that be something? UCLA getting Rattler, and then Riley's at USC, and almost maybe Rattler's doing it on purpose. I really think if Mario Cristobal leaves, they're going to have, Lincoln Riley's going to be able to start competing in a couple years. And I don't know if they're going to, they'll get into the playoffs and then get blown out like maybe OU has a few times. It's tough to tell, but it's going to take a few years and a little bit of patience. But really talking about the coaching search, I think everyone can agree that this has been basically chasing ghosts. It feels like Joe Castiglione has thrown everyone off. I feel like he's playing with the reporters. He's playing with the press. He's throwing people this way, throwing people that way. No one really knows what's going on, other than him and maybe a few other people with the university. But, just to throw a name in the hat that hasn't really been floated around a lot, I don't know how you don't look at Dave Aranda. And maybe, and there's been a little bit of speculation with him. And maybe that's why the Sooners are waiting to get past this weekend. Maybe now they're going to be able to talk to Dave Aranda. I know there's another coach with, it's playing right now as we record this, and Georgia with Dan Lanning, maybe waiting on him to talk with them. I just feel like Dave Aranda, with what he did, I mean, they were 2-7 last season. In the second season, they finished 11-2, Big 12 champions. They're going to go play in a New Year's Six bowl, barring some crazy playoff, scenarios where a bunch of teams lose. Maybe, I mean, literally in the slightest chance they go to the playoffs. But regardless, I mean, they're Big 12 champions and going and playing for a New Year's Six bowl. You had Dave Aranda with his, ability to coach. He coached well at LSU, his recruiting ability. I feel like he would be a home run hire that not a lot of people are talking about, but maybe he doesn't have a lot of interest in the pro and being in the Sooners' next head coach. What do you think?
Yeah, whenever Riley first left and we released our first video earlier in the week, that was both of our top pick, because personally, it was definitely a little bit out of bitterness, because Aranda does have a perfect record against Lincoln Riley, and if we ever do face the Trojans, in a bowl game, then we have potentially the answer for Lincoln's offense. But I mean, looking back, he is a great coach, but I don't see him leaving Baylor. He just won a Big 12. I think he's the type of dude that will probably stick around for a couple more years before he decides to leave. And if he ever decides to leave, he's only been there for 2 years now, and he's turned them around. They went from a dumpster fire to Big 12 champions in a matter of 2 years. That's a very quick turnaround, and that just shows his development, his play calling, the game planning, and in-game adjustments. And this game was a little different for him. They scored all of their points in the first half, and their offense just came out flat in the second half. For whatever reason, they couldn't continue that momentum, and Oklahoma State was able to take a little bit of an advantage, and pretty much make it a game until the final play. Unfortunately for them, they weren't good enough. They proved they're the constant little brother. But yeah, I think Aranda's not moving. I don't see it happening. I think in this scenario, if Oklahoma was interested in Aranda, they were probably big Oklahoma State fans today, hoping that Oklahoma State would move on to potentially the playoffs, and then Aranda would be maybe more open to a move. But you can't leave on a winning note in this scenario. I mean, I know Lincoln's done it. Lincoln did it to us, but I don't think many coaches would do something like that. Or Brian Kelly did the same thing in Notre Dame, but maybe different scenarios, but they both left winning programs. I don't think Aranda would do that so quickly too.
Yeah, I mean, and the more when you were talking, I started thinking, I was like, maybe the thought crosses his mind, like, well, OU and Texas are leaving. The Big 12 is going to be open. We just won it. Baylor just won the Big 12. You start casting a wider net on your recruiting, you build some momentum, especially, I mean, there's going to be a few kids that are going to commit to him now for sure that might have been on the fence. If he stays, they might have a consistent path to the playoffs once, OU and Texas leave, and he's just competing against, maybe Cincinnati, Oklahoma State, and I don't know what BYU is going to be or whatnot, but he's only going to have a few schools that might be able to compete with him, and he might be able to build a powerhouse within the Big 12. I mean, he's got the coaching ability, and if they can give him that contract extension, he might get comfortable enough, like you said, to stay for a few more years, and they might make some noise. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to say, but I could see the appeal of staying and not being interested, because OU rebuilding a new coaching staff, kind of overhauling a roster now, getting ready to move to the SEC. I could see why you might be hesitant to do that.
Yeah, especially since he has LSU ties, and I have no idea if they even considered him. They should have, in my opinion, if they didn't. But if he was considered for the LSU position and he wasn't interested, then it just shows that he has no interest in moving to the SEC right now. And it's not everyone is. I mean, like we saw, for maybe Lincoln wasn't either. I don't know. We don't know that for a fact, but it's not everyone's goal. But I think what we can look forward to is, it seems like we're getting really close to a coaching announcement. Bob Stoops, earlier in the week, he has his own YouTube videos and channel where he mentioned that he expects an announcement to come by Sunday, December the 5th. latest Monday, the 6th.
Mhm.
I think outside of Joe Castiglione and Joseph Haraz, he's probably one of the few people that really know where this search is every step of the way, because it's also important to him. I mean, he stepped away from coaching. I know he came back, but it was just to come back to help out and stabilize the program. He's not planning on coming back forever. I don't think he wants to be here for longer than a couple of weeks. And he probably, just like fans, us fans that want an answer and want a coach. And for those fans like our friend Brandon that's not here today, that are just panicking about, the announcement hasn't come quick enough. Like, they're going to make an announcement. I know we don't have transparency, and in today's world, transparency seems so easy to obtain because of social media and the constant news cycle never stopping. But he's doing a great job. I think that's one thing we can look at. He said he was going to work under the radar, and not one person actually knows what is happening. Parker Thune on Tuesday said the Brent Venables stuff was all but done, and today's Saturday, and we have no idea if Brent Venables is actually the target. For all we know, Dabo is actually a possibility after their AD left.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about the craziest rumor of them all. I mean, I'll preface this. I know everyone freaked out on our last video, not saying that Dabo Swinney is going to be the next head coach of Oklahoma, but it's just showing how crazy this coaching search and how many people don't know what's going on, and us included. We're just talking about what the reports are. I mean, is it weird timing that Clemson's AD is, well, reportedly going to Miami? Whether that's happened or not, no one's really been able to confirm it. Isn't it a weird timing? And this has been dragging on for a little while. A few players enter the transfer portal. I don't think anything's going to happen with Dabo. I think Brent Venables is the most likely candidate, but it seems like there's a little more momentum with Dabo Swinney potentially being interested. Like I said last time, I mean, the ACC is way down. If Mario Cristobal comes to Miami, does that appeal to Dabo Swinney to stay? He'll have maybe a second big time program that assuming Miami builds back and is really competitive, and they can bring the ACC, and it's just the two powerhouses going back and forth. I don't know. Miami's stability is not great. Their boosters are all over the place, but you bring in the AD from Clemson, bring in Mario Cristobal, you never know. Miami might get it rolling, and that might be appealing to Dabo to continue to compete against a guy like that. Or do you take this as a stepping stone opportunity and, go to Oklahoma, go to the SEC, go to one of the blue bloods, and get a seat at the table at the best in the best conference in the country? I mean, I would think the money would be whatever Dabo Swinney wants, basically a blank check. And I would imagine Brent Venables would come, and he would probably get a nice pay raise as well to be a DC. I don't really see it, but it seems like that there's more and more smoke. I have a hard time. I would have never thought Lincoln Riley would have left. I would have never thought Brian Kelly would have left. It would be like the cherry on top if Dabo Swinney decided to leave. I mean, it would cap off an insane coaching carousel that honestly a lot of us didn't expect to happen this year. So I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. You were talking about Dabo, and I think they're ridiculous rumors too. Like, we had Clemson fans in the comment section, calling us crazy, and whatever name they could think of to try to downplay the rumor. And we've called it a rumor the entire time. It's a crazy rumor. I think it's extremely unlikely that Dabo leaves. He's super loyal to Clemson. He's been their head coach for 12 seasons, 13 seasons now, and
he's been there a long time.
Yeah, and he was there before as an assistant. Like, if he was ever going to leave, it probably would have happened a long time ago. But it is a great opportunity for him. Obviously, we don't know him personally, so we don't know if he has a goal to coach in the SEC. If he does, like you said, this is a perfect opportunity because he can build the program over the next couple of years to what he wants it to be, and then the move to the SEC will be smoother for him. But I think it is much more likely that we take his defensive coordinator and Brent Venables or Lanning. Those two seem to be the only constants. Those are the two names that have been there since day one, and they haven't gone away. We've gone from, Aranda was at first the name that was put in there. Fickle has been a name that's been in and out of the rumors. Dabo just recently came in. Again, I still believe it's extremely unlikely. And then people were going as far as saying that Drake has been in Oklahoma this week because he's going to have a concert tonight or tomorrow for Dabo and Brent's announcement. That just seems ridiculous. Like,
I mean,
come
it's
on.
insane.
Would I love it to happen? 100%. If they announce today that there's going to be a Drake concert tomorrow to announce our head coach, I'm booking a plane ticket to go
Yeah,
see
I'll
them.
meet you there. I'll
But
meet you there.
I don't think that Drake would fly out just for a concert in front of 10 reporters or 20 reporters and get a coach announced. Like, this would be an announcement of huge magnitude where he would also probably want to benefit out of it. I mean, he's not going to, his time is worth a lot of money. He is a big time name, and he's not going to perform a 20-minute concert for 20 people. Let's get real.
No, I mean, it's so outrageous that it's comical. And when you read this, you're like, what in the world? People are just like writing a story.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane. I mean, if it happens, I'm showing up. I mean, that's all that matters. I mean, if it happens, we'll show up. But not to really change the subject, I'm sure you got the push notification from ESPN, and I don't think we've even talked about this, but it was the Texas assistant football coach Jeff Banks' girlfriend sued after monkey allegedly bites child. Do you remember that rumor from Texas?
Pole assassin.
Well, you want to talk about, yeah, pole assassin. You want to talk about it could be a whole lot worse. Could you imagine that going on in our program right now?
Yeah. We're not.
You want to talk about a crazy story?
Yeah, we're not gutted. We're not in the dumps. We still have a good football team. People that have pushed the panic button have just made crazy assumptions. Like, if we don't name a coach in the next 24 hours, like I expect Joe to, then half of our roster is going to go away. We won't have a quarterback. We won't have a running back. Our line's going to be gone. We're pretty much just going to be playing walk-ons. Like, have we lost commitments? Yes, but the way I see it, and it's not the same way everyone sees it, but those kids were not actual Oklahoma players until they signed the piece of paper, and they could do it as soon as the 15th. But we've lost mostly in the 2023 class, which we still had plenty of time to potentially lose them. Lincoln here or not, I don't think it would have been likely if Lincoln stayed, but there's that chance. There always is. 2022, did we lost? Derek Moore. We lost Kobe McKenzie, and Kip Lewis is on the fence. He said he's still.
I was going to say Demetrius
Hunter, who's a center. So we lost 4 in 2022, but we've also started to get in a lot of top 2 and top 3 schools for a lot of offensive linemen. So would Demetrius have been a great addition? Yes. Can we replace that in the 2022 class? Of course, there's still a lot of offensive linemen that are still looking for a home. We've also seen a lot of 2022 recruits say Oklahoma is the place I want to be. A couple have also said they just want to wait, and they're going to wait. These kids don't have to sign on the 15th. They could sign on the 16th. There's another national signing day coming in spring. I believe it's in February. So, not everyone's going to sign on the 15th of December. So I think, do we need to hire one soon? Yes, because we need to also set, let that coach start setting a culture and start recruiting, because, time is of the essence for recruiting. These kids are also a little bit impatient. I don't blame them. They want to make a choice sooner rather than later. But if they're committed to Oklahoma, or the possibility of going to Oklahoma, like a Gabe Dindy, then he'll give the school a week or a week and a half. I don't expect him to be like, you guys are taking too long. I'm out of here and just going to A&M. And, he made the commitment to Oklahoma, and he's giving the university time and giving them a chance to convince them that this is still the right place to be.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of kids that are taking the wait and see approach. And I would like to think if I was in their position, I would do the same regardless of whatever school I was committed to. It shows a lot of maturity, and, just because you're still committed doesn't mean you can't go talk to other coaches. They can still call you. you're right. We need to captain the ship. I really think I agree with you. I think tomorrow, which is Sunday, or latest Monday, you're going to see a coach, and that'll be a week. I mean, you go 1 week, and you go from a coach leaving unexpectedly to a new coach, assuming it's going to be a big time hire in a week. And while games are still going on, potentially if you hire a Dan Lanning or maybe Dave Aranda, which I don't think that's really going to happen. Um, while games are going on, you're conducting interviews, you're trying to be thorough. It's really hard. I mean, I'm sure the whole athletic department has been just a chaos. I mean, just to give an live update as we're recording, the SEC championship game, it's 17-17. Alabama is pushing, and they're trying to score right before half. Whether they do or not, I'm not sure. Dan Lanning, he seems like he might have his hands full right now. Granted, I know Kirby Smart is very hands-on with that defense. It seems like Georgia came out maybe a little bit flat on the defensive side, or they haven't seen an offense quite like Alabama. I mean, I assume regardless of today's performance, if OU wants to hire Dan Lanning, I don't think this performance is going to change their mind. Even if they give up 35 points to Alabama, you can't take one game and be this deciding factor on whether you hire someone or not. So, yeah, I really think it's going to be in the next day or two. I did see a picture on Twitter where there was a stage being set up inside the Everest Center. So they're prepared for an announcement, and everyone just needs to take a deep breath. Maybe Sunday, maybe Monday, we'll know. And then he'll have a week, pretty much, a little over a week to go meet with all the commits and recent decommits and any guys that are on the fence, and they're going to be hitting the road fast. And I think it'll be all right. I really do. My prediction is Brent Venables, and I think you would agree with me. He seems to be one of the constant names through this whole process. It just seems like it would be him, and he's the most logical coach to hire. But
yeah,
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised with anyone what Joe would do. Nothing would surprise me at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's Venables. Dabo Swinney is in Texas today watching his recent quarterback commit play in a state championship game, I believe. So he seems pretty committed to Clemson, and don't blame him at all. He has created Clemson to be a powerhouse and almost a blue blood school. So you might as well just ride out your career in the place that you've built, and Brent can come back and hopefully finish his career as Oklahoma's head coach over the next 10, 15, 18 seasons, or however long he wants to coach. But yeah, Brent hopefully is the guy that gets announced tomorrow, and he can bring on, his staff there soon after. It was Gabe Eichert mentioned that the administration already knows who Brent wants to bring on his staff. So potentially probably already knows who the OC could be. So hopefully they just hit the ground running. Tomorrow the announcement happens that it's Brent Venables. In my hope, and also in my opinion, I think you're not going to set up a podium for something that's happening in 5 days. You probably just want to get it in there and get it out as soon as possible, because they're going to need that training center as soon as our new coach is in, because he's going to put those guys to work for the bowl game.
Yeah. I've got one final thought, and I can 100% confirm this and 100% back this up. Believe it or not, the Oklahoma Sooners, the University of Oklahoma, will hire a new head football coach. I guarantee it.
Facts.
100%.
That will happen.
So, yeah. Just take a deep breath. We're going to be fine.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, if you guys made it this far, we appreciate it. You're awesome. Make sure you go down, leave a comment, let us know what you think. Who is your bold prediction for a coach, or who do you think is actually going to get hired? Hopefully they get, that they get a good coach that can lead us to the next, help build a dynasty at Oklahoma, and win a national championship. At the end of the day, that's the goal. Turn on the notifications, leave a comment, leave a like, let us know what you want to see in the future. We're going to try to start getting basketball videos out. Porter Moser, actually, that will be my final thought. Let me pause there. In coaching searches, Joe Castiglione has moved relatively fast. Lon Kruger, I believe, announced his retirement on like March 25th. Towards the end of March, by 9 days later, we had a head coach for basketball, and people weren't freaking out thinking it was the end of the world. And this team might actually be better than last year's team with a ton of transfers, a ton of new players on this team, and a culture has been set up by Porter. And I think whatever the new football coach will do something very similar, because that's the type of guy that Joe is looking for, someone that can make a cultural impact on their team. All right. Now I'm done. Do you want to add something before I actually wrap it up?
I mean, yeah, just on Porter Moser, the amount of passion and the drive and what he, how intense he is. He's turned the program already for Oklahoma basketball that was solid with Lon Kruger. It seems like it's ready to take the next step, and it's pretty exciting. But for sure, we're going to get more videos. Well, we're going to start doing basketball videos, and only 20% of you subscribe now. So come on, we've been expanding. I know we're reaching a wider audience, but now we're down to 20%. Come on, hit the subscribe button.
All right, let's do it. Subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.